So, thanks to a recommendation from Danotaz Media, I have been watching Undead Unluck, and you may be wondering, what the hell is this? Well, this is Undead Unluck, the new anime from David Productions, who are most known for producing JoJo's Admittedly Bizarre Circumstances. Get back, JoJo! And Fanservice Fire Force, and believe you and me, Undead Unluck may in fact just be as bizarre as JoJo's Extremely Bizarre Circumstances. From a random appearance of Deadpool, a cameo from SpongeBob, and the main character marrying a zombie who, by the way, is the voice of Sailor Mars. This series is full of, well, wildness. From its insane story, to insane visuals, to even its insane star-studded cast comprising of basically Attack on Titan's cast, along with some hidden gems here and there. Chances are, if you've never heard of Undead Unluck, then, well, your day is about to get a lot better. If you enjoy Undead Unluck or Jujutsu Kaisen, One Piece, Chainsaw Man, or Demon Slayer, then this is right up your alley. We cover all sorts of anime here, along with anime news and some topics, so thanks for watching. Let's jump in. So, what is Undead Unluck about? Well, after reaching the conclusion of her beloved manga series, Fuko Izumo contemplates ending her life. Afflicted with a unique condition for the past decade, she brings extreme misfortune to anyone in physical contact with her, leading to tragic consequences for those around her, including her parents. Standing on a bridge above train tracks, Fuko's life takes an unexpected turn when a mysterious man touches her. This contact causes the ground beneath him to crumble, resulting in a fall in front of an oncoming train. To her surprise, when Fuko later discovers the man's body, she realizes that he possesses an extraordinary ability too. His body is regenerating, bringing him back to life. Fuko names this enigmatic man Andy, who, like her, harbors a desire for death. Initially hesitant, Fuko eventually decides to join forces with Andy to help him achieve the peaceful end he seeks. However, their alliance attracts the attention of a shadowy organization that aims to exploit the peculiar abilities shared by Fuko and Andy. In many ways, Undead Unluck feels like the equivalent of Deadpool the anime, or as Danotaz Media puts it, anime's version of the Doom Patrol. And if you don't know, the Doom Patrol is a DC comic series known for its unconventional and often bizarre characters, as well as its willingness to explore maybe more complex and mature themes. The basic premise of the Doom Patrol revolves around a group of individuals who have all experienced tragic and unusual events that have left them with superhuman abilities, but also marked them as outcasts in society. Andy and Fuko and the rest of the cast are pretty much each the same, dealt with some affliction or curse that grants them these unique abilities which aren't what you'd say are conventional for superheroes. Fuko's body, as we'll talk about here in a moment, is cursed. Andy can disembody and gore himself to such an extreme that he can use the blood pressure from his severed limbs to propel himself, and all the while still revive himself from quite literally nothing. There are more examples like this as well, like a suit that, I kid you not, at one point Deadpool is wearing until Andy kills him. It takes the suit, which is in of itself is like Andy or Fuko. But that's the thing though. I also think it's quite a bit like Deadpool in the sense that this show is not afraid one bit to embrace itself and just be completely chaotic, and that creates one of the best watching experiences in 2023 for anime. It's really fun, really unique in how it has different takes on situations. The characters are a lot of fun too, with a lot of uniqueness to them and depth that you'd probably not expect to find. But the great thing is that the creators of this series know that there needs to be a balance between the drama, comedy, action, and wackiness, and I never feel it's trying too hard to be funny or wacky or dramatic or comedic for the sake of it. It's clearly a very deliberate series, and you can tell this because of the way the characters are handled. Fuko, as we'll mention later, is one such example where there are subtle nods to her past and what happened to her that made her the way that she is. And it's surprisingly very dramatic, dark, and mature. Undead Unluck really just feels like a bit of everything, and that is embodied, well, within our main characters. Andy, as an example, to me is, well, the second best character in this series. He's like Deadpool mixed with a cocky shonen MC while also embracing a little bit of, dare I say, some Kill la Kill influence as well. This character is quite literally naked throughout 90% of the episode so far, and I kid you not. It's not even that big of a deal either. And what I mean by it not being a big deal is that usually such blatant fan service can come off, well, ham-fisted and generally unneeded. But much like how Kill la Kill handles it, nudity is just any other facet of the show, or in this case, well, Andy. Mind you, it's not even pervy. I'd even go as far as saying you could watch many of these episodes in front of family and they'd not even notice or care. It just feels natural and carefree, much like Andy's flaccid dick waving in the wind as Fuko is continually scarred over and over and over and over. Besides that though, Andy as a character isn't as deep as say Fuko is as a character. He's more or less just a guy with a really cool ability. But what I find really cool about him that adds depth is he often will have some hidden knowledge or wisdom that he can share with Fuko or whoever that will surprise you. For example, in episode 1, when Fuko is ready to die, Andy quite easily is able to convince her not to go through with it and live. However, the twist here is that Fuko and Andy are more like a duo and really do everything together. They're like a team, and when they're together, well, the chemistry is, it's unmatched. Another great example that I love is when Andy marries a zombie while trapped in Wall Maria. Now, I know what you're saying. Did you just make that up? No, I am legit being 100% serious, if only maybe a little misleading. In one of the arcs, Andy and Fuko go to Texas, yes, Texas, where they find a town walled off like Wall Maria from a zombie invasion where there is also, may I add, titans that they do end up fighting, who, may I add, are all voiced by Attack on Titan VAs. More on that later, especially if you're an AOT fan. One of the zombies is actually a rather cute lady who was a teacher for kids but was turned into a zombie. Turns out that her life's dream was to find herself a handsome man and marry him. Andy being the guy who changes people's lives, he legit marries the zombie, and it's the best thing about this show. There, I said it. I thought this was not only hilarious, but was also quite dramatic at times, and dare I say, had some really clever writing. Keep in mind, this was already within an arc where the setting is literally a spoof on Attack on Titan, zombie flicks, and even features a cameo from SpongeBob. That's why SpongeBob's in the thumbnail. They somehow found a way to ramp up the craziness, but the best thing about that is that it's legit really good and perfectly executed. It gets even better when you realize that, well, now the zombie wife is actually kind of cute for being undead, has a really fun and heartfelt backstory, and on top of all that, without this random ass zombie character, the arc, dare I say, wouldn't be even as good without her. This is all to say that I think Andy is a vehicle for change, and not only how he is able to change those around him and grant them happiness they could only ever dream of, but as well, he's a force for change in the story. He brings this wild feeling to the series that truly makes you want to know what Andy is going to do next. As well, his hidden power and abilities make his character a little bit more darker and mysterious too. Andy is great. He may not be as deep as Fuko is, but he is at least a good 50% of what this show is all about, and he's earned that. And the other half being, well, our better half of the main characters, my favorite character. I gotta say, one of the characters I wasn't expecting to like as much as I did is Fuko, and as well, Fuko's amazing VA. Once again, we'll talk about that in a second. As Dano Taz Media put it, this character is the embodiment of the word courage. Her ability is basically unluck, which is the opposite of luck, in case you didn't figure that one out. Her body is a weapon in of itself, and anyone who touches her bare skin will be dealt with a massive amount of unluck applied to them. Think of it as constantly rolling a 1 in D&D. Her ability adds so much hilarity, randomness, and is in a weird way, once again, rolling a d20 in Cursed Halo, where each time it's rolled you get some random effect that's just insane. For example, in one of the more recent episodes, Fuko inserted her finger into Andy's head, no spoilers, and it wasn't until later in the episode did the unluck hit him. But when it did, he ignited into flame. Of course, there are so much more examples, all of them more or less as wild, but that's why Fuko is such a great character to spotlight. She embodies, in my opinion, the spirit of Undead Unluck as a show, which is to ultimately be entertained by the wild adventures and hijinks of life, good or bad, especially the bad, but to embrace that and go against the grain. Fuko is a character with a lot of trauma attached to her. Some of it subtle, some of it more obvious, and some of it swept to the side. But her story is one of perseverance, because while her unluck ability has ruined her life in so many ways, it's also something that she fights against. Now, I got all this from Dan Antas Media, so you can credit him. But the definition of courage states the following: the ability to do something that frightens one, or strength in the face of pain or grief. Fuko, at the beginning of the series, is afraid to face her reality, so much so that she reads Kimi ni Todake, which, by the way, is a real series and is getting a season 3. Yes, I am hyped, and yes, that is another reference in this show, to escape from her own desperate reality, one in which her body destroyed her life, one that's given her so much grief and caused so much pain. However, despite being suicidal and ready to die, she decides to live on in the face of this great pain and grief, to use her body that truly frightens her with what it can do as positive. Something that can help Andy or the people she meets, and that's more than enough for her, it seems. There is a lot of hidden depth to characters in this show. While it's not super deep or like poetic or high literature, it is clever and rewards the viewers for actually paying attention to the story and characters with a lot of time and effort clearly put into it. This isn't just a show for random violence, action, and titillation. I feel like if people do have that interpretation of it, that's probably more of a misunderstanding of what the series actually values and offers its viewers. Animation though? Oh my god. If you loved JoJo's Admittedly Bizarre Circumstances and fan service Fire Force, they really did Hibana dirty in that show, then you're going to love the animation for this series because it is animated by David Productions, the studio that for some reason never gets the limelight despite being just as good as, say, Bones, Mappa, or Madhouse in terms of quality output. This show is absolutely beautifully animated, and without a doubt, one of the best of this season so far. Going back to the Zombie Town / Attack on Titan arc, that's a great example of how great this show can look when it comes to its action sequences. It's likely one of the cleanest productions I've seen this year besides, I don't know, maybe like Vinland Saga or Attack on Titan. It's bright, colorful, but also packs a punch when it comes to animating. Basically, Titans, which as we know from Wit and Mappa's time animating AOT, well, that shit is not easy. Feels like I'm watching, honestly, the best fight choreography from the best episodes of, like, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z, mixed with the modern production of something you'd see out of fan service Fire Force or JoJo's Admittedly Bizarre Circumstances. It's great, and I think if you really love more recent examples of things like My Hero Academia's Biggest Fights or something like a Mob Psycho 100 or One Punch Man, honestly, this series, just through animation alone, not even taking into account the story, it's a 100% recommendation. This show is the definition of clean, consistent, and smooth animation. However, this is a big one, and usually I don't mention voice acting in my videos. Then again, before this video, when was the last time I even did a proper review of an anime? However, I felt that Undead Unluck, well, the cast is very notable for you watching because 90% of you who are here are for Attack on Titan, and the cast is basically filled to the brim with Attack on Titan's cast. Some of them are brand new VAs, like Fuko's VA Moe Kahara. Yes, her name is Moe, and I hope I didn't mispronounce that, but she, by the way, is one of the best of this anime, which is crazy because this is her first notable casting in an anime, and let me tell ya, she's joined by some incredible cast members. Andy is voiced by Yuichi Nakamura, which, I mean, if you're a fan of the channel, that would be the voice of none other than Daddy Gojo Satoru. Then we have Shin Shiang, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is voiced by Natsuki Hane, who you may know as voicing Tanjiro Kamado, 9S, or Falco Grease from Demon Slayer, Nier Automata, and Attack on Titan respectively. How about Rip Tristan being voiced by Aaron's VA, Yuki Kaji, Gina Chamber voiced by the legendary Aoi Yuki, don't even have to mention who she's voiced, Mui voiced by 2B's Butts voice and Mikasa, Yui Ishikawa. I mean, we can keep going, and I mean that. I didn't even bring up Jun Fukushima and Rie Kugimiya yet, but I could! But I won't. Yes. Undead Unluck is just really good, and I think for some people it'll even be great. But this is a show that I think is overshadowed by your Attack on Titans, Jujutsu Kaisen, Spy Families, Rurouni Kenshins, and even Frieren, which are all just so much more popular and well-known than Undead Unluck. So I hope I could do my part in helping spread the gospel of Undead Unluck a little bit. This show is an easy recommendation if you're going into something where you want a lot of shonen action, but also something a little bit more out there and creative with a lot of star-studded casts from series like Attack on Titan, Sailor Moon, or Nier Automata. It's just a great series, and even the production is really good for it, and with it being a 2-core series that isn't split, I mean, that's awesome. Especially if you have any issues with the way MAPPA are treating their staff and don't feel good watching JJK right now, then I think Undead Unluck is right there, ready, willing, and able to thrill and excite you. So check it out. You can thank me on Twitter later. Gonna keep this as brief as a Chainsaw Man chapter. Thank you all for your support. No kidding on that either. I guarantee you nobody watched this video, and it's currently sitting at a 10 out of 10 on YouTube in my analytics. So turns out I may need your help in at least getting that to like a 9 out of 10. If you could, just do 2 things for me. Drop a comment and let me know what you think about Undead Unluck. Could literally be anything. I just want to see people actually talk about Undead Unluck because there just isn't enough discussion about this series right now. But as well, drop a like on the video if you're still listening. You would be surprised at what a like can do to help a video's reach when you couple that with a comment. Like I said, this video, no matter what, is probably going to cap out at maybe like 2,000 views if we're lucky. And trust me, if this video gets like, I don't know, 10,000 views, I'll like give away some like Pizza Hut gift cards or something. Like I said, this video, no matter what, is going to be capped pretty low, but I loved making this video, so any help would be greatly appreciated to get the word of this video out. Next anime review, by the way, is on the lovely Miss Freerun, so be sure to check it out and subscribe so you'll be amongst the first to see it. Financially support the channel by becoming a patron, where you'll gain access to my mega One Piece arc reviews and first impressions. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.